Hello and welcome back to That Millwall Podcast, a transfer wish list edition of That Millwall Podcast that me and Frankie did last year. We're doing this year. Hopefully you've all had a chance to look at part one of the segment where we did take a look at goalkeepers and defenders, some players that might be a little bit of a high risk, high reward, some players on a free, some players that we thought, oh, why not? We've got a bit of money. And tonight we're going to look at midfielders and attackers, and we'll come back and we'll get Frankie's take on things straight after this. Frankie, good evening, mate. Part two, midfielders and attackers. How you doing?
Very good, mate. Yeah, looking forward to the show. Just looking forward to looking through some of the names. There's some decent old names in this list coming up, so should be exciting.
Yeah, and you mentioned it on part one, and go check out part one if you haven't seen it yet, where we did goalkeepers
like and subscribe.
And defenders. Yeah, like, share, subscribe, and to this when you're watching this back. Last year was a different take, wasn't it? Because we looked at players that, you know, we were really scraping at the barrel. We was looking at some deals, looking at some players maybe a little bit older, some people that would fit in a Harris system. Complete 360 turn this year. We're looking at younger players. We're looking at players that fit a potential sell-on. We're looking at even spending a little bit more money than we did last year. And that's kind of good when you're doing this type of segment. You get to be a bit more adventurous with some of our picks that I'm sure people might not agree with.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think last time we were looking at a lot of League One players, a lot of frees, a lot of championship experience. Remember the day we were struggling when we filmed this last time, weren't we?
Yeah.
So, yeah, now we're looking at players for like 3.5 million. We're getting carried away, mate. Getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, no, I think so. And let's just get straight stuck involved then. So we'll have a look at some midfielders, and this is a midfielder that you picked out, Etienne Camara. Quite a versatile player. Tell us a little bit about him.
He's a player that I actually looked at through a player comparison tool that we've got that looks at stats and stuff that we use for the podcast. And he flagged because he's so similar to so many different players. If you look at people like Pat Matsar at Tottenham and things like that, he comes up and for Gus Hamer, he flags as quite a similar player to all them sort of guys. And then I started to look into him a little bit more, and honestly, I think he's just phenomenal. He's still only 22 years old, so got plenty of room to grow, and played 20 games this year for Chaparral in Belgium. Previous experience in the Championship was played for Huddersfield, so and might be a name that you recognise from then. Managed to get a big money move away to Udinese, which hasn't quite materialised. Obviously, part of their multi-club model now in Belgium. But if we want someone that can come into midfield and do something a little bit different and add a bit more control, I think this is your guy. He's so silky on the ball. Technically, he's just outstanding. He wants to get his foot on it. He put a tackle in. He can do the nasty bit of the game. At being defensive midfielder is really solid. But what he wants to do is sit in front of that back four and just spray passes and just dictate. And I think having someone like that would really open up a lot of options for people like Caspar Jander to go and actually do more and to go and impact the game further up the pitch. Physically, you wouldn't look at Etienne and think there's much of him. He's quite tall, obviously around 6'2" mark. He looks quite slight. He's really wiry. He's incredibly strong for his frame. I think he's definitely going to explode in the next couple of years. And France has got a lot of these defensive midfield types that are just going on and doing incredible things in leagues all around the world. This guy will be one that sort of steps up to. He might never become a Winger, but if he can go and do a job for Millwall, we'll take him, right? And for 1.8 million, I think that's an absolute steal. From what I've seen, I'd pay double that, no questions asked.
Yeah, when you sent him over, I thought I've seen him somewhere before, and then you mentioned the Huddersfield, and yeah, and he was fantastic for them, a real enforcer. And you're right in what you say. It was going to be something that I said, and you said it before. You said it before. Obviously, you come to me that he doesn't look it. He looks quite gangly. He looks like he doesn't belong. Kind of a bit like how Sergio Busquets kind of looked in that Barca team. And I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that this is the second coming of Sergio Busquets, but you know, you look at someone in that position. I'm using it as a positional comparison. You think he shouldn't be that good on the ball. He shouldn't be that have that much agility. He shouldn't be that wiry for someone who's of that physical frame. And someone like Busquets was, and his range of passing is phenomenal. He reads the game really, really well. He's only 22, and you think of how good he was in that Huddersfield side, and for what a kind of leader and a big player he was for that team. And you think of how old he was then. Yeah, if you could knock someone
19.
like this down, exactly, 18, 19. So he's got the experience. He's a bit more seasoned now, and he is only 22. And he would allow Caspar to prosper and move forward. And with Caspar being at a really nice age, like 26, 27, I think Caspar is now, you'd look to bring the next guy through. We have got it's available. We haven't got Honeyman on the books at the moment. We haven't got George Saville at the club anymore, thank him for his service. But there is that position available. People might think, why are you looking at another CM/CDM? Billy Mitchell's not signed a new contract. George Saville's not here anymore. We've got an unknown in Dan Kelly. We've got Massey.
Wintall's gone.
Wintall's gone as well. We have only really got Caspar Jander as the main guy in the book. So I think you've got to look at central midfielders. It's somewhere we needed to improve anyway.
Yeah.
And I think in both attacking and still defensive midfielders as well. And he is quite versatile. He could do both jobs. He can sit in front of a back four and clear up, and he can get forward and join the attack if you need him to. So yeah, I really like this one. And if that price tag is accurate, then my God. And the club is playing at, it is theft, you're right. And the club is playing at, do they get many £2 million offers for their players? Probably not. So no. You'd probably look at stealing that one there. 20 appearances, 1 assist. Fair play to him. I really, really like the move. Really like the move.
Yeah, mate. He's I said he wasn't a player I was particularly familiar with a couple months ago. And the minute I looked at him, I thought, Jesus Christ, he's gonna do something with us in the Championship or somewhere else. You can picture him playing for Brighton, and that's probably the biggest compliment you can give a player like that. He could slip in. Yeah, he could just slip in and just do a job for a lot of top sides. Just go and get him, Millwall. It makes sense.
Yeah, that is someone that is quite a big name, or got massive potential, but it's still someone who fits the model, and you could have a little bit of a steal there. Could Caspar with that sort of Belgian route, that sort of Belgian-y French route, maybe have a word with him? You never know. I did look abroad as well for my central midfielder, and this was pushing the boat out there. I had to pick one or two that I thought could potentially be in reach, probably not likely, but someone I really enjoyed, and that was Caspar Jander. It stood out for the name, first of all. If you've got one Caspar, what's better than one Caspar? Having two Caspars. And this is someone that I watched him and I thought, I don't really like the look of him. I really didn't like the look of him at first. I was going to move on to someone else. And I see the stats, I thought 9 assists, 3 goals. Okay, 32 appearances. Loves a tackle. He could play all 3 positions in that central area. And his work rate was second to none. The reports I read was he just keeps going and going and going and going. He does not stop. And they're the type of players that we love it at Millwall. His agility. He's got really, really good passing. He can create chances. He can fit in the can. He enjoys doing it all. Doesn't complain. Yeah. The biggest thing that we saw with the Middlesbrough centre-half of his leadership, the biggest thing that I read with Caspar Jander was he will do whatever you want and he won't complain about it. If you want him to just sit on someone like Jimmy Abdou used to do, he'll go and do it. If you want him to pop up and be the main man and try and lead us to a win and try and join the attack, he'll do that. But he's someone who's really, really physical, real good engine. And in English football, that's something that you really need to have. You need to be physical. You need to be durable. And he fits that in abundance. I just think that with the price tag of €5 million, I do think that, playing at Nuremberg is still a big club in the German league. It's a good league as well. It's a big league. He's someone that teams would have their eyes on. I would be shocked if he didn't get any transfer speculation. I only stumbled across his name of potentials, like young gems that may look to go somewhere in the future. Not someone right now was the best youth players in the world at the moment, but someone that's probably 2 or 3 tiers just behind that. And with his versatility, his engine, and his willingness to just do whatever he's asked without complaining and do it to a higher standard, I think, just go and get him. And he's shown there, look, 9 assists, 3 goals. That's 11 goal involvements in 32 games for someone who can play and has played all 3 positions throughout last season. He wasn't stuck in the cam. I think that was quite impressive. And I just think that he would suit us in what we're trying to do in terms of how he plays.
There's 2 things that really stood out. I think the first one, looking at this page here, 6 yellow cards and one red card. I quite like that.
Yeah,
like you wouldn't naturally look at amount of yellow cards and think that's a good thing, but the fact that he's getting himself stuck in, just smashing people about when he has to, that's a Millwall player I've ever seen one, isn't it? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, definitely.
And when I watched him, the amount of his assists that come from maybe not inside the 18-yard box, but in and around the 18-yard box, or him making runs, breaking the lines, getting ahead of his centre forward, he's quite aggressive in the positions he takes up. And I think you said it, his engine's ridiculous. It has to be, because he puts some miles in, and he then half make forward runs and becomes almost a third striker when he has to. And we have no one that can do that. And we probably haven't since Saville was 22 and before he left for Borough. We've not had anyone that can do that, mate.
No.
Yeah, really impressive, them numbers there. And you think at that age, he's going to get better, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think the big thing about him as well is he's so robust and so physically. You look at Ronaldo at 40 and you think he's just physically he's never going to be hurt. You know, he's going to live forever. And when I look at Jander and his performances and his frame and everything else, like, he's just so physically prepared to play in a league like the Championship. He's robust. You could just see he's not going to be the type of player that is injured constantly. We suffer with that. I like the fact that he's a German international. I do like German midfielders, especially ones that play central defensive midfield and can get forward. We've seen that with the likes of like Kimmich can drop in there and play there as opposed to right back. You saw that with Philipp Lahm for many years, and the various CDMs Germany have had. They've all been brilliant. There hasn't been one German central defensive midfielder that has been versatile and have the same sort of metrics as Caspar Jander and not been successful. He's probably someone that's priced us out. He probably could play Premier League football. I've got no doubt he can with his attributes and maybe even other European leagues. I just think if no one's looking at him and his name's not being touted about, and that is the price tag, and Nuremberg, you don't see many signings coming in or out of Nuremberg. He's probably someone that they know they probably would lose. I would put Nuremberg as probably a bottom tier Premier League side. If they was to come over, I think they'd probably do okay in the Premier League. Probably be a top 2, top 3 Championship side based on the quality of the players they got. So I think he's probably not out of reach. It's probably unrealistic, but I don't think he's out of reach by any stretch of the imagination. And if I could choose one player of all the players that I've chose, even from the goalkeeper defender segment we've done and for the attackers, if you had gone somewhere and said pick one to sign, that this would be the guy that I would sign. I'd absolutely love him in a Millwall shirt, and I think fans would really, really take to him just because of his off the ball work more than anything. That's what Honeyman's love for, right? Honeyman doesn't offer much apart from his off the ball work and his positioning, his aggressiveness, and his tenacity. Caspar Jander gives you that, but with added quality in there.
It's interesting because we also spoke about a left back at Schalke last time we did this show, and somehow in that show I ended up then looking at the football finances of German second division sides. A lot of them are financially struggling, so you do think a £5 million offer would probably tempt them away. Get there first. We probably weren't the favourite to sign Nigley. We just stole a march on everyone else. Stole him away from bigger clubs. Do the same with this guy. Just get there first, be aggressive, do it a little bit cloak and dagger. Suddenly he's there before anyone's even realised happening.
No, I agree. You look at Ivanovic and you mentioned Negley, Casper Denore, Zian Fleming. These are all players that we probably did get there first. And that is after, if you can get there first, as you say, the chances of signing that player goes right up. Why shouldn't we be looking at players like that when we've been so successful in that area of the world and in the European market? Definitely go up to them. you've kept the same sort of mantra, mate, and you've gone at someone I actually really like as well. I paid a lot of attention to this one when you sent it over. Is Markus Solbakken?
Yeah, a bit of probably one of the riskier signings, but if this one works, I think he'd be an absolute.
Yeah, I really like this one when you sent it. Yeah.
Son of Tyrhys Dolan, who obviously played for Wimbledon back in the day, and was once Wolves manager, I believe, as well. He plays for Sparta Prague, who spent last season on loan at Pisa in Serie B. To be frank, it's not worked for him. He was incredible out in Norway. He's struggled in his 2 moves in Czechia and Italy. But there was a reason he got that big move away. And some of the players that are coming out of these Scandinavian countries at the minute are just ridiculous. He's had a full call-up and played in the first team for Norway in a side that included like Martin Odegaard and Erling Haaland. These are top players, and he held his own in that league. The concern is obviously right that he's gone away into different leagues and not done it. But there's that. I guess it's that failure that ultimately means he's probably someone that we could go and get, and why is available for 2.5 million, not for 10. If we could get him in and get him solid and get him stable, I think he'd add a lot to our side again. Primarily, he's a defensive midfielder, so not quite as dynamic as the 2 guys you've already mentioned. But on the ball, I think he's probably the best one, and he's got an absolute rocket of a shot on him. His goal catalogue is just absolutely insane. 6 foot, so again, tall enough to play in this league. Still young enough at 24 where he can improve and he can realise some of that potential that got him that move away. He reminds me a lot of Sander Berg at Fulham, who is, again, just a top player. I mean, yeah, I think the only other concern for me is I think he is quite similar to Caspar Jander. And I think in terms of how he plays and would they maybe play well in that midfield together, I'm not sure. But if we ever wanted to go into like a 3-man midfield, or let Caspar do more of a roaming role, or maybe even put Caspar to fullback, which he's done before, or into the attack midfield, let's slip this guy into midfield. I think there's a hell of a lot of potential there if he can figure out what's gone wrong in his last 2 moves.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you again said what I was going to say, or alluded to something that I was going to say, that he's so instinctive that he ain't afraid to just get it out of his feet and just hit it. And it is impressive. He's very, very impressive with that. And that was the big thing that stood out for someone who plays the position he plays as a CDM, to have that technique and to the want to pull it off was something that definitely stood out. And with being 24 years old, bounced around a little bit, probably got a little bit of frustration on his part.
Yeah,
there isn't going to be many English teams coming calling for him, and I think if he could get a championship move, he'd absolutely jump at the chance. You'd probably get him on in a sense, probably some sort of prove it deal. You wouldn't break the bank in any way, shape, or form for him, but if you can get a tune out of him, which I think someone like Alex Neil can, there's definitely a player there, 100%, and you have got the option to tinker with other players, and he can do that himself as well. So he's versatile. He's still young enough, but he's had a lot of experiences, some good experiences, and some failure. And you want players to experience some failure. You want them to have question marks about themselves, because it does make them better players. And he's someone that is probably a low risk, high reward player in this situation. Like you said, probably not the biggest of need in the position that he plays in.
No.
But it is a low-key need, because like we just said, with losing out on and having Caspar Jander looking there, you've lost Saville, you've lost Honeyman at the moment, you haven't got Billy Mitchell at the moment. We still need to deploy there. You know, we've got Massey, who's an unknown at the minute, who's looks okay. Is he ready to play 46 games? I don't think so. Look, Kelly is, for me, more of a box-to-box, probably an outside 10, typical number 8 style player. So we need reinforcements in all positions at the moment.
100%.
And yeah, if you could get someone that cheap, with that talent, with that hunger, probably after his recent failures, 100%, I'd be all over it.
I completely agree, mate.
That is probably the best of our central midfielders, and we're quite lucky in the wide areas because we've got Negley, we've got Aziz, we've got RBW. These players can play everywhere. We do, however, though, I feel, have some weakness in the depth in them areas. And I don't mean in terms of numbers, but Lovelace is still an unknown coming back from a major injury. Marku just doesn't seem to be able to lock it down. I thought he was really, really poor towards the end of the season. In fact, I thought he was dreadful towards the end of the season.
Yeah, it got worse.
He definitely got worse. You've lost Watmore, you've lost Honeymore that have been deployed primarily in them areas as well. You've got Bernard Baker or Benicio Baker, another unknown who's coming back from injury. So it showed that when we lost Aziz and when we lost Negley, we did struggle. We lost a bit of tenacity. We lost a bit of zip. We lost a bit of quality and a bit of goal threat. And I think we do need to be a bit careful that we don't fall into that trap again. Alex Neil did speak about it. Said injuries really cost us, so we got to look at that. That's why I looked at someone like Tyler Goodrham of Oxford United. 9 goal involvements for Oxford United, 41 appearances. Primarily a right winger, can play on the left. Mill fans will know him quite fondly. It's an absolute rocket against us in the 1-1 draw away from home. And I thought he was absolutely outstanding. Really, really, really good player. Market value at 3 million. He's 21 years old. He'll be 22 when the season run comes around. Pretty short and stocky, quite physical. Very, very good dribbling. Very good dribbling. The thing that stood out on the reports and from what I watched him as well was his quickness and his agility. He's very, very quick on the ball. Almost like a young Jed Wallace. He can turn defenders inside out, cause problems for him. You don't sort of know what way he's going to go. Someone like Aziz, I think, is quite an open book, Aziz, but because he's so good, it's hard for him to stop. He's kind of a cut in, get it across the box or sort of belt down the wing. He's not really the type of an agility type player, but Goodrham reminds me of a player that you've got coming up. I won't spoil it, but one-on-one, keeping possession, being off the cuff, being a bit of a unknown. What is he going to do? Keeping defenders true, keeping the whole back four true. You don't know if he's going to shoot cross. Really, really, really good. And he's someone that we've lacked at scoring from distance. We've lacked at just having digs in general. We like to try and walk it in sometimes. He's someone who ain't afraid to just cut inside and just lash it. And he's proven time and time again, especially this season. I know he's only got 3 goals, but one of them goals was an absolute belter against us. Absolute belter. He's got it in his locker. Durable, played in this division, plays in various formations that suit Millwall. We know how Gary Rowett likes to deploy with the wingers. He likes to play a lot of 5 at the back. Alex Neil likes a similar 3, sort of 5-2, or even in a 4-4-2. Tyler Goodrham is someone that you could just count on. Just get the ball out to him and let him belt with it and let him cause problems.
I think the biggest compliment I can claim is every time I watched him this year, he stood out. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I can't stand that little fucker.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's just annoying. Yeah. But annoying in a way that you think like he reminded me a lot of Josh Windass. Maybe a bit shorter.
Yeah. But if he played for you, you'd love him. Yeah. That's right.
Just he had so much to his game. I'm actually surprised he didn't score more goals, I've got to say. Yeah. I thought he would have been about 6, 7.
Yeah, 3 was quite... I was a bit shocked with 3 myself. I thought, I'm sure he scored more than that.
Yeah, but there's a really good player there. And I think now he's shown he can do it at this level. They'll be suitors, right? And if they want to... If you can get him for 3 million, I actually think that's below market value. I'd be surprised if he doesn't go for less than... I'd be surprised if he goes for less than 5. It's my gut feel.
Yeah, I agree. And I looked at Oxford and thought, you know, if you could probably shortchange Oxford a little bit, you know, they did well to stay up. Fair play to them. They're probably still going to be one of the teams on the cards to go down this year. Yeah, because you look at the teams that have come up, big clubs, look to spend a bit of money. Your teams like Oxford and that are probably going to be looking over their shoulder again. So if they have to sell one of their better players to get some money to reinvest to get maybe 2 or 3 more players to make their squad better, to make their depth better, yeah, I'm sure that there's a deal to be done there. You know, I'm not sure Rowett would do us any favours, and he'd love to hang on to
Definitely not.
Goodrham. He'd love to hang on to him, but Raoult may look at it and think, Watmore's out there, Honeyman's out there. He may look at it like that and think, I can get myself £3 million and get players I know. I would even look at part exchanging and going, look, we'll send you someone like a Marku or someone like that and doing a swap deal for him, including cash, because championship experience, played 41 games this season in the championship. His English experience in the English Football League is great, up from League One. Only 21 years old as well, so he fits the bill, and I think his potential is ridiculous. He's really short, stocky, likes to cut inside, quite physical. I think the fans would love him. I think he likes to lash out.
100%.
A lot of the clips I watched is he'll lose the ball, and I love to see the frustration where he has a little bit of a kick out. Where the player runs past him and he turns and kicks, a little lash and kick out, and he gets booked for it, as you see with his 5 yellow cards. For a winger, for a right winger, primarily a right winger and attacker, 5 yellow cards I think is quite a lot. That's a ban. Yeah. 5 yellow cards is a ban. So it's he does remind me a lot like a Jed, a bit more of a physical Jed Wallace, and he's just got that tenacity about him where he can do things no one else can do on the pitch. I think we've got players where we know what they can do. They're quite an open book, as I said. Goodrham is sort of that excitement play. I don't know what he's going to offer us. What is he going to do? Is he going to hit it top bins, or is he going to cut back inside and pass it? I just think there's real potential there. And like I say, look, the age, the profile, everything just fits for this for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's over the next couple of years, he's one of them you look at and think there's a lot of growth in him. He'll improve. Yeah,
100%, 100%. And sticking with attackers, this was the guy that I did kind of compare him to in a comparison, and I'd probably look at Tyrhys Dolan as being a more polished version of Goodrham. And look, I was up at Blackburn away. I saw what Tyrhys Dolan did to us, and he absolutely ripped us apart. Versatile as Goodrham is as well, right wing, left wing, centre forward. Look at his goal and assist output, mate. Tell us a bit about him.
I think you said it all, mate. He absolutely ripped us apart, didn't he, in that 4-1 game at Ewood Park back end of last season.
Yeah.
And it's not the first. And it's not the first time he's done it. He's constantly causing us problems. He's another one. He's a horrible player. He's physical. He'll get stuck in. He'll kick out. He'll scratch people. He does what he has to do. Do you know what I mean? 12 yellow cards again for a winger.
That's ridiculous.
A lot.
That is
insane.
That's ridiculous. 12 yellow cards.
Yeah, Joe, maybe needs to calm down a little bit. But
that's probably a bit too much. Yeah, but I love that though. I love that. I mean, look at this 13 goal involved.
And I think that's why you can tolerate it, right? Because that output is ridiculous. And the best thing about him, that little €7 million valuation, is absolute nonsense because he's out of contract. So he's actually available for a couple of 100k compensation. You'd have
to. He's a free agent now, then.
Yeah, he's out of contract. Blackburn offered him a new deal, but he's not accepted it. So, well, he's not accepted it. He's not accepted it yet. So he's currently a free agent, and you think to yourself, you might have to offer him big wages to get him in because you won't be the first choice for a player like that. But again, just offer him a decent wage, come down to London for a couple of years, enjoy yourself, live in the capital. It just makes so much sense, right? The only issue is I think I can see him going somewhere like a Sheffield United and getting paid 30k a week, or Birmingham and doing the same, which is a stumbling block. But if he doesn't, if there's a deal to be done there, with the money you're not spending your transfer fee, go and get him, because he has proven at his level for 4 or 5 years now. He's been knocking about, tearing it up.
Yeah, it's mental. He's only 23 as well, and it's like he's just constantly been around, and he's constantly been a pain in the arse as well. The only thing that worries me with the free agent side of things is that we have more of a pull to him than Blackburn do. I mean, we're pretty level pegging in the league the last sort of couple of years, and the last times that Blackburn have played us, the last sort of 3 or 4 times they've played us, he's prospered on that. You know, they've given us a bit of a thumping, and will that play into account? I think you're right. A top-end championship team will definitely take a look at 13 goal involvements. I think that's great numbers for a right winger. I think that's really, really good numbers.
I believe he come through Preston's youth team.
Yeah, I think he did. He was at Preston
from 2017 to 2020.
Yeah.
So he would know Alex Neil.
Alex Neil. Yeah.
Which
that's a good point.
I hadn't thought of that until just now. He didn't make an appearance for Preston, but Alex Neil will definitely be aware of him.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. It's a great point. It could go one or two ways. It could be, maybe I got a chance to prove Alex Neil wrong because he didn't play me, or it could be, fuck you, you didn't play me, I'm not signing for you.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
This is definitely the type. This is one of the out of our list. This is definitely one that I think this would be. This, if we was to sign someone like Tyrhys Dolan, I would look at this and go, okay, we mean business now. We're coming for it next year. That's exactly what that signing would do for me. The experience, the goal output, the caliber of player, just his aura that he brings. He's an arsehole, you know. He's like that. He's that type of player. And I just think if Millwall could sign that type of player or him, you got to start looking at it going,
we're serious.
Anything can happen next year. Yeah, we are serious. Yeah, you know, there isn't many signings that you think, okay, that's a need, that's good, I like that. But this would be a signing where you go, yeah, all right, it's game on now. Let's get going. So I'd absolutely love this. I mean, we started okay at Blackburn. I was up there with my son, miserable day, and he just decided that he weren't up for putting up with it anymore, and he literally just ripped us up. And fair play to him, because we just couldn't handle him. We could not handle him. And yeah, I think it's one of the very few times that, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's playing up against Wes Harding for most of the game. I mean, we got it tactically wrong, but he made me question whether Wes Harding was going to stick around this year, because I've actually liked Harding up to that point, but really, really, really struggled against him.
Yeah, he put 10 years in that day.
Yeah, that's
like really an old man suddenly, didn't he?
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, actually, and he did. And yeah, fair play to him. And I'm really, really shocked actually that, you know, Schmodix, he's probably got mask bowled of Schmodix antics last season or season before, that he was a bit overshadowed, because Dolan, you look at his stats over the last few years, that last season isn't just out of the blue. It's not a random event. You know, he does this on a year in, year out basis. He's very prolific. He's very consistent. I'd love all them type of wings. If you could sign them both, that would be amazing. Yes. But we do lack up front. Now, I'll say lack. I don't think we do in terms of numbers. You've got to look. We've got Kevin Nisbet coming back. You've got Langstaff on the books. You've got AJ Matthews who's yet to make an appearance. And, of course, you've got the big Serb. But Coburn's gone back now. And we've lacked goals. Coburn got 6 in, 30 appearances or whatever it was. But he only played 90 minutes 5 times. So, I think there is a deal on the cards, though, for Coburn. I do think he'll end up being a Millwall player personally, just because of what we spoke about with getting players on loan. It's easy to get deals done. But there is a play. If the money was right, I would. Because
what's the right money for you?
It has to be less than 2 million. Less than 2 million. Okay. Because, I mean, you look at his age is good. He got Millwall a lot of points. He missed some chances, and he missed some games, and he wasn't very healthy. That's what's putting me off.
You're saying missed some chances. He missed the chance that really did stop us getting fucking players.
Yeah, he missed the biggest chance, and that might weigh down on him a little bit. But he missed just as, not just as big in terms of what it meant, but the timing of the game and the parameters around the game. You could argue the Derby game was just as big for our positioning, to miss the penalty late on in the game, and then to still pop up with a winner in the 94th minute. You have to give it to him. He popped up with a winner at Watford as well, and then on his debut, and Sheffield United away, he's popped up with some big goals. I think the hate I've seen for Coburn has been really way overblown. Some people saying he's the worst signing we've ever had. He weren't even the worst signing we had last season, let alone we've ever had.
Close. Yeah.
And I do think there's a player there. And I thought when we went to a 2 up front, I thought it worked with Ivanovic. Yeah. I thought they've got a good rapport. So if the money's right, I would. But we still do lack goals in that area. And one player I've looked at, who I'm going to bang the drum again, Frankie, and you know exactly who it is. I'm banging the drum for Emil Riis again, because he just fits. Right, he's 26 years old, but he knows Alex Neil. You rightly pointed out last time, he played his best football under Alex Neil. You look at last season, and a team that should have gone down, or was, going down. We've already spoke about Freddie Woodman in part 1, and you look at the other end, 14 goal involvements from your centre forward. You've got to take that into account. If you play a two up front with him, the amount of chances that the Serb can latch onto, advancing midfielders can latch onto, just holding the ball up, bringing in wide players, I think he really, really suits us. He's a great height, 26 years old. His main position is a centre forward. It doesn't actually list him as playing out wide, but he's played out wide quite a lot for Alex Neil. He drifted out into that right area, likes to cut inside, very instinctive, likes to get shots off that you probably wouldn't get off. A normal striker wouldn't get off. The angle might be too tight, or he's trying to do it on the turn. But he scored a lot of goals out of that because it catches teams off guard. That was one of the biggest things that stood out in the reports, that he's very instinctive. He'll try things other strikers won't. He's very physical. He's got some leadership, vast amounts of experience. And at 26 years old, only just 26 as well. He'd be 27 sort of coming up in a couple of days. I really, really like it. I think he's someone, it's a bridge player where you can nurse Coburn through if he does come in. And the biggest thing about it, he's on a free transfer. If you can get Freddie Woodman and Emil Riis on a free transfer, you've arguably took Preston's two best players. And on a free as well. And that does the club wonders for PSR. It does us wonders for balancing our books, for having money to spend elsewhere at right back, left back, and other areas that we've looked at. You gain valuable experience and you gain threats. And we've lacked goals for so long up front. Having 13 from Ivanovic seemed like this like Mitrovic of 2019 number or 2020 numbers, If you pair his goals with Ivanovic, you're talking nearly 30 goal involvements between the pair of them this last season. That's impressive. And if you can get good service in the wide areas, which I think we've got, and good, robust central midfielders, I'd love Emil Riis. And I'm going to curse the day that he signs for someone else and the dream is over. But this dream's been on for, well over a year now, mate.
Yeah, do you know what? It's just another one where you think it just makes so much sense. It ticks so many boxes. As you've already touched on, played his best football in his career under Alex Neil. He has all the traditional hallmarks of a Mill centre forward. He gets stuck in. He don't stop running. He'll link play, he'll get involved, but he also has 12 goals. He ticks so many boxes. And I think if he wasn't a free agent, I'd pay the 2 million that we're paying to Coburn to go and get him instead.
Yes.
And we touched on it in part one around the need for experience, and a lot of the players we've touched upon so far are, you look at and go, they're right for the model. This maybe isn't one that's a model signing. This is a signing for your manager and for the dressing room, because the experience that he'd bring, I think, would be invaluable. You can't have a dressing room full of kids. Getting him at 26 and a free agent, like that, it would be the best signing this summer if we got him in.
Yeah, I agree. And you touched on it there, that you can't just have a room full of kids. And essentially in our striker room, that's what we've got. Kevin Nisbet, I fully expect to probably be off. Langstaff is not experienced at this level. Coburn's only experience at this level is a couple of FA Cup games with Middlesbrough and with us. Matthews hasn't played at this level. Lovelace again is another player. So bringing someone like Riis in to steady the ship up top, to bring in, to be the manager's voice on the field as well. He knows what Alex Neil wants. He knows what's expected. And he thrived under an Alex Neil system. So other strikers would be able to look at Emil Riis, how he trains, how he conducts himself, and know that if I follow his lead, Alex Neil got the best out of him. He'll get the best out of me as well. And that is someone that I can look up to. You do need that. I think we've had that in midfield with Saville over the last 2 years. And I think Caspar's going to slowly take that reign over. And I think we've had it at the back. People say what they want about Cooper. Cooper's been there a long time. He might not be a captain, but Cooper gets the club inside out. And he's a model for this football club. He understands the club and he's respected around the club. And he knows how he should carry himself. People look to him. We've got that in every area of the pitch, people that understand what it takes to play here and how to conduct themselves. I just don't think we have it up front. And I think signing strikers that fit the model now wouldn't be the right avenue for the striker room. It'd be the right avenue for everywhere else, I believe. But the striker room, I do think we need to get an experienced head in there. Someone like Emil Riis with his performances over the last few years, his statistics, played under Alex Neil and how well he played under Neil, and being on a free transfer, it just, as you said, there's some transfers that make more sense for other football clubs than they do for ours. I think this one just makes so much sense for us. If he was to put in the top 3 teams that he makes sense for, I think we'd have to be number 1 for Emil Riis, surely. And I think he might look at it like that because of his experience of playing under Neil before.
I certainly hope so. I think one of the things we haven't really touched on, 45 appearances last year.
Yeah.
We suffered so many injuries. If he could come in and play 45 appearances for us, again, we spoke about Coburn. We're not here to slack off Coburn, but if Coburn was fit for 45 games, we might have got playoffs.
Yeah.
Riis was. So,
It
a massive tick in his box.
Yeah, it gives us the other side of the coin, as you rightly said. You lose Coburn for a number of games. You lose Langstaff for whatever the hell was going on with him. You lose Lovelace for a number of games. Nisbet when he played as well, injury prone. Ivanovic has been pretty healthy. The only one that, thank God, has been pretty healthy. Emil Riis not only brings experience, he brings talent, he brings goal threat, but he brings robustness to his game, and he is someone that is durable. He is the Jake Cooper of centre forwards. He can play week in, week out. You haven't got to worry about resting him on the Christmas period where you've got 5 games in 12 days. He can play them all. He's done it for Preston. He's done it year in, year out. And you haven't got to worry about it. And I think that's an area that is something that will play into our transfer strategy. Not only players that fit the model and quality players, but also players that are ready available. Because let's have it right. We can blame the Coburn miss. We can blame Oxford away or Sunderland at home or various games throughout the season, or both Cardiff games where we drop points. It's the injuries over the course of the season that if we had that player, we might have nicked a point there. We could have got all 3 points there. And I think that the injuries are going to be something that we really, really look at. And Emil Riis has proven that he is durable and he can play in the thickest of schedules. So yeah, even at 26. So I'd love it to happen. It'd be, again, my top 3 Mount Rushmore of signings we can make this season. You've looked at an attacker, a striker, should we say, a very versatile centre forward as well in Fisnik Asllani.
Yeah, so everything we just said about not every signing could be for the model, ignore all that, because this is 100% for the model. I also thought, Kosovo and the Serbian relations haven't been particularly good for the last decade. Maybe Millwall could fix it. So
maybe we're going to bring peace to that part of the world.
Yeah. That's what we're known for, right? Bringing peace to the world. So 22-year-old Kosovan, he currently plays for Hoffenheim. He was on loan at Elversberg in Bundesliga 2 last year. That's a ridiculous goal contribution to 26 goals. And if you look across all competitions, he got 29 goal contributions, which is just insane. It's 19 goals and 10 assists. 6'3", so a big centre forward, but a little bit similar to Ivanovic. He's big, but he's not particularly a target man, in my opinion. I think he's you can see it there. He's played in attack field. He's played out left. He's much more technical than he is combative and physical, if that makes sense. So he'd have to adjust to the league, but Bundesliga 2 is no easy ride. It's not one of your traditional farmers leagues, right? He's coming from a better standard than Ivanovic has, so he should be able to adjust quicker. But there would be a bit of a learning curve there. What I really liked, if you watch his goal catalogue from last year, he scored some of the worst goals you've ever seen. Like
interesting,
just rebounds. Keepers feels it. He's always the first one there. Ball comes into the box, takes deflection, falls to his feet. It's not luck when you've done it 19 times in a season. That's
true.
That's being a centre forward. He also has enough goals where he's edge of the box, early shot, gets it similar to Emil Riis, gets a shot away early from the edge of the box, low into the bottom corners. It's got goals by numbers, right? You can replicate that over and over and over again. Complete opposite of Ivanovic, who just scored wonder goal after wonder goal. But this guy is the complete opposite in that sense. He very much scores the goals you want a centre forward to score, goals that Millwall haven't scored since Harris left, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah.
So he'd be someone that I'd look at. There is obviously a massive risk there. 22 from Kosovo. You know, he wouldn't have played at a level as high as Championship. And I think that 4 million is probably a bit low with that goal tally still in contract for a Bundesliga side. But if Hoffenheim don't want him, if they want to offload, I'd certainly be having a look.
Even for a potential loan, even a loan with a view, that sort of thing, you know. That I would definitely look at that. I think what stood out to me when you said it to me, I looked at the goal contributions and I thought, there's probably, you know, you look at some strikers, and we had it with Tyrhys Henderson. I remember at one point when Tyrhys Henderson played for us, I think he scored like 18 goals one season, but I think in 3 games he bagged like 9 or something in like 3 or 4 games. So it was like it all accumulated at one end of the season. He went missing. With him, it was kind of like 3 games without, then he'd bag for 4 games in a row. Then it'd be 2 games without, and he'd bag for 3 games in a row. Then it'd be like 3 or 4 games out, but then he'd bag for 5 games. He was just constantly at it, and it was his goals were widespread. He won a lot of points as well, and it wasn't like he was really good it wasn't Duncan Watmore. He wasn't great in August when he's still fit and healthy. He was good in May as well, you know, and it was throughout the season that you see he pops up 1 goal, might go missing for 2-3 weeks. You expect from a striker 2-3 game, maybe a 4-game drop off, but then he's back with 5 goals in 6 games, and he just did that throughout the whole season. That was the biggest thing that stood out for me about him. And look, he fits the model to a T. A place that no one's ever heard of, coming to a place that he probably is going to feel loved. You've done it with Caspar, Zian, Negli. None of these players we knew anything about. Didn't even hear from. Didn't even know the teams existed for half the players that we've been looking at, and especially with the Serb as well now, joining that sort of that part of the world in our transfer regime. He would fit that to an absolute T. And as how you've described in there, the shit goals, it's the shit goals that win the points. And I love that you said it like that, the shit goals, because like you said, them goalmouth scrambles, that just says to me, they're not shit goals. That's instinctive striker play. That's being in the right position where you need to be. That's having good positional awareness. That's being where you're meant to be in the position that you play. They're not necessarily shit goals. They might look shit because they've bounced off 3 or 4 people, but the fact that you're there and you're on the end of it and you're reacting to it and you've got that reaction time, that to me speaks volumes, because not every goal is going to be a worldie. And as we've seen at Millwall, we score a lot of scrappy goals, and he would definitely fit in terms of that. But them numbers are, if you took away his name, the club, and took away the price tag and said how much is he worth, he ain't worth 4 million quid, as you said. So yeah, you could look at a loan, but versatile centre forward, second striker. They listed him as a second striker, not a 10, but someone who can just drop in behind ever so slightly and roam around the sort of 18-yard box. He's not going to drop deep, but he can definitely sit behind a 2 and be the guy that might pick it up on the edge of the box and play someone like Ivanovic in. He's quite happy to do that.
Like Fleming used to.
Like Fleming used to, yeah. He's not going to run back and forth as like a typical Cam, but he's going to be a support striker. He's going to be a second guy. And, you know, you could put Riis in that conversation as well. But, yeah, definitely someone I'd have a look at. Buzzing with that list, mate. If you had to have one over the 2 segments, if you had to pick one from each position over the 2 segments, the goalkeeper, defender, midfielder and attacker, what are you going with?
One from each area, or just one
from each area?
Goalkeeper, I think I probably would go Keeley. Defenders, I think I would probably go for. Who was the centre back you mentioned?
The one that I picked.
Yeah.
Vandenberg.
That's the one. Yeah, 100%. If you could get a deal for him, that's an absolute no-brainer. Centre midfielders, Camara. Centre forwards, Emil Riis. Just makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go a little bit off tangent. I'll probably say Woodman, just because of he'd be on a permanent, and I'd probably look at Vandenberg, Camara, and Caspar and Tyrhys Dolan. I'll take the striker out, then I'll look at Tyrhys Dolan. If I could bag them 2 midfielders in save someone else up top and stick Tyrhys Dolan. Yeah, that'd be the dream for me. But yeah, Riis is always going to be the dream for me this window. But yeah, if I could pick some players, I think they would change dynamics of the club, because they are all experienced, they're all leaders. They've got something about them, and they've got some flair. And the goal and contribution you're bringing in from them players would be ridiculous. Something we've lacked.
Transform the squad, yeah. There was obviously one other player I think we was going to touch on briefly, is Mikey Moore. I think you've still got the graphic for that, haven't you?
Mikey Moore, yeah. Let's have a little look let's have a look at Mikey Moore. I think I have, actually. Yeah, good shout, actually. This was someone Bobby picked up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Someone that has actually been touted with a move to the Championship, and even to Millwall, and you're going to tell us why.
Yeah, so 17 years old. He is probably a name a lot of us know now, particularly at Millwall, because he is a massive Millwall fan. His family are Millwall fans. So if we were to be able to get him in, we wouldn't be the first choice, because there's been some much bigger clubs in the Championship we would sniff in. But you think, let's just come down for you, mate. Put on the shirt, live out the dream, get us promoted, and then we'll sign you next year. He was just voted. He just placed 22nd in the top 50 teenagers in the world, in the whole world. So that's the kind of level we're talking about. He played for Tottenham last year. He
was just behind Reece Williams, wasn't he? I think he was.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah. But he played for Tottenham last year. All right, they were shit, but still played.
He made first team appearances.
Yeah, scored in the Europa League, got assist in the Europa League. He's currently playing for England under 19s. If anyone watched the game the other night, it was a really poor game. He did stand out as the only player on the pitch that looked like an actual footballer. Ridiculous talent. He's going to go right to the top. We've had success before with Tottenham loans for England. So if they want another Tottenham, if you want another Harry Kane, send Mikey Moore our way and we'll sort him out for you.
Yeah, I agree. The price tag is hefty. There's even teams in Italy look at him. I've seen apparently Napoli have been sniffing around him as well. They like the look of him. Someone that Conte would know pretty well as well, So it's they like to dip into the English market at the moment. Napoli, they've got a need out there as well. He does fit, and they've got the ability to pull it off on a permanent basis if the new manager is. Thomas Frank ain't going to give him a shot. I think Thomas Frank's probably the best thing to happen to him, to be honest with you. I think he'll utilise him. No wonder. You see what he does with Mbeumo and Damsgaard and players like that. He would absolutely, and then Wissa, he absolutely suits that mould. That tenacity, that quickness can chip in with a goal and versatility. I'd love to have him on loan. I'd love to get him down there. Absolutely love it. And I think Tottenham, what would play in our favour is they probably wouldn't want to get rid of him. I don't think they're ready for him to play.
They'd be mad to sell him. They'd be mad.
But I don't think they're ready to play him yet as a first teamer. I think this year is the year for Mikey Moore to go, right, you need to go to the Championship and you need to play every game, week in, week out. We're going to send you to a team that's going to guarantee your minutes, and then we'll assess you at the end of the season, because not only will his price tag go up if he plays really well, but there's a ready-made player for Tottenham that they've proven that's what they do best. They sent Kane out. They sent Ryan Mason out. They send all these players out. They give them a platform. Troy Parrott, yes. But even Troy Parrott, he didn't work out with us, but he's absolutely banging in goals.
Doing well now.
Take out his arm. So they do that, Tottenham. They're really good at doing that. They give them a platform and go to the Championship, and we'll keep monitoring you. And if you don't work out here, we'll sell you. We'll do what's best for you. But ultimately, we want what's best for us first. And being a Millwall fan, having a good relationship with Tottenham, having a good relationship with Thomas Frank, more to the point, we've done some dealings with Brentford that he would have no doubt been involved in. He was a manager at Brentford, so he got involved in them situations. So there's no doubt there's a deal to be done there if he did want to come. And I think if Millwall was sniffing in, if it was a Championship loan move, it would be the first team he'd want to come to, without a doubt. I don't care if it's any club in the Championship, just come down. There's no doubt he'd want to come and play for Millwall, 100%. No doubt that would happen. If it was to come about. But yeah, it would be an exciting player to have. And we've got to look at loans. You can't just buy everybody. Some of these players have got to be a loan. So you're looking at your Kosovo man, you're looking at Mikey Moore, you're looking at Keeley as well. You are going to have to dip into the loan market as well as the transfer portal as well. So yeah, it fits the mould.
I mean, there's not many players that we'll ever look at that could potentially one day win a Ballon d'Or, and he is one of them.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Let's just live the dream for one season.
Ballon d'Or Mickey Moore. riding through the den. That's what it'd be, wouldn't it? And you see on his Wikipedia page, won the Ballon d'Or, Champions League, blah, 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 blah. 46 appearances for Millwall. Millwall promoted to the Premier League that season.
Two goals.
two goals, but like 25 assists. Ivanovic enhanced his inner Mitrovic that season because of Mikey Moore. Yeah, we're going off on a tangent here, but it's nice to think about it. Yeah, exactly. But look, 2 great segments, mate. We've done the defenders and the goalkeepers, and we've done that's my alarm telling me I have to take my specific tablets. Not like STD tablets or anything. But
whatever you got up to, mate. No judgment.
Yeah. But yeah, got to take my magnesium. But no, it's look, some really, really good players there, mate, over the 2 segments. I've really enjoyed it. You've said some players that you'd love to sign, some players I'd like to sign. I'd be really, really shocked if we didn't have an absolute blinding window. Something's just telling me that we're going to. Last window I thought was really good, but something's telling me this window is going to be even better.
I hope so, mate. I really do hope so. It needs to be because the league's only getting harder.
No, and we said it earlier. I mean, I looked at the table earlier, and I initially thought that this league's got piece to piss this year. And then I looked at it again. I looked at the size of the clubs and the finances involved now at 99% of the championship. We're dwarfed by 90% of the championship in terms of finances and size of the club and, you know, past history with most 90% of these teams being Premier League clubs. I think it's only ourselves, Preston, and sort of 1 or 2 others that have never played in the Premier League before. Yeah. So we're sort of playing catch up in that sense. But if we want to make that step and we want to be a playoff team, but before you become a Premier League team, you've got to become a playoff team. Our natural next step, we've been knocking on the door, is to become a playoff team. We ain't going to do it without making the type of signings that we've made. People might call us a bit adventurous and go, what's the fucking point in that show? You ain't ever going to sign that player. These are the type of players we should be looking at. And we've give, I think, valid contributions as to why they fit the mould and the type of player they are. And also, some of them are quite cost effective with good risk.
Yeah. 100%, mate. I think it's a good mix there. Some of them, and it's funny, some of these are free agents, right? It's not. We've not gone completely insane, have we?
Yeah, and we've never spoke about some of these players last year.
No,
it's exciting that we're even having these conversations. So
yeah,
no, it's really, really good, mate. But no, I've enjoyed it. Gallon, if you're watching, I hope you are, mate. If you're watching, just tap some of these up. Dolan's are free, Woodman's are free, Riis are free. Get your checkbook out. And we'll see you down at Den, mate.
Yeah, if you've got any vacancies, mate, me and Jay are available for scouting.
We're up there. Look,
we'll travel across Europe for you, mate. Know about
that. Absolutely, especially with the sort of places we've been dipping into. I'll be quite happy to travel to. But not everyone's going to agree with us. If you don't, tell us your thoughts. Is there a better midfielder that you think that fits the mould more or is better value for money? Let us know in the comments. Send us your thoughts on it. I hope you like some of the players that we picked out. And hopefully we have a good window. And you never know, some of these players might come to fruition. They might be Millwall players. And we'll look back at this and we'd already had a ready-made segment for that player. So anything else from you, Frankie?
No, nothing major, mate. Just, everyone that's listening, thank you very much. If you've liked the content, drop us a like and give us a subscribe. It'll mean the world to us. But yeah, if you like the show, give us a shout and we can maybe do a couple more.
Yeah, nothing better from me to say. Frankie said it all. So we'll leave you with this.